My name is Jason Winkelmann. I'm a senior manager in the IT PMO, and I work remotely. So I'm located in Central Texas, just north of Austin, about an hour. And I've been with BFS since January of 2023. I served in the U.S. Army from 2002 to 2022 as an engineer officer. Inspiration for joining the military. Actually, I had no intention of joining the Army initially. So out of high school, I went to Texas A&M University to join the Corps Cadets out of the tradition and history of Texas A&M, and that being an important part of that. And as part of being in the Corps Cadets, you have to do ROTC, which is Reserve Officer Training Corps, to become an officer in the service. And so I was doing that, and actually it was my sophomore year in 1999 where I was offered a scholarship, and I was like, hey, this seems like a pretty good opportunity. I'll know what I'm doing after college and everything. And so accepted that challenge and then finished up. And then my senior year is when 9/11 happened in 2001, and then things drastically changed. But so part of that, reason for serving was the scholarship opportunity, but also my grandfathers had both served in World War II. And so that was kind of like, hey, this is, I think, a good profession or something to go and do. Now, I think a better question, though, is, well, why did you stay for so long with no intention of wanting to be in the military? Because originally when I joined, it was just to do my 4 years and then get out. But that's when the surge was happening in Iraq and Afghanistan, and then folks were being recalled. And so I was like, hey, I'll just stay in and do my full-time commitment, which was 8 years. And then I just told myself, I'll get out when I stop having fun. And then I never stopped having fun, right? And so ended up making it to 20 years and had enough fun and wanted to do something different at that point. But yeah, so that was my reason for serving. I never had any intention of serving for 20 years. I just really enjoyed what I was doing, the people that I was with, the missions that I was doing, the opportunities that I had. Just a lot of variety of opportunities. For staying in that long. I was able to get like 3 master's degrees in the Army while I was there. I got to work for the Corps of Engineers, and I even taught for 3 years at Liberty University, all while serving in the Army. So just a lot of great assignments. Yeah, so obviously the longer you're in the Army or the military, then you increase in rank. And so by time at the end, my final rank was a lieutenant colonel in the Army. And so my last position before getting out was a deputy brigade commander. So I was kind of the second person in charge of about a 3,200 person organization spread across 4 states. And what were kind of my roles, responsibilities? Well, I helped the planner, assisted in the planning, the executing, and then the assessment of all of our engineer operations that we did. And that included 4 major training exercises in Europe. We had 9 major training events across the U.S. going on during those couple years I was there, 8 major construction projects, and then also helped transform and stand up 9 new units. Some of my other personal responsibilities were overseeing community relations with local community leaders, doing leader development for, I call them like operation managers and junior managers in civilian kind of terms there. And then it really helped implemented Army and organizational processes and policies for like 130 person employee staff were some of the major things that I did. Did a lot of external communication or upwards communication with senior Army leaders like general officers and such. So just really exposed a lot to the strategic kind of level, operational level of planning and thinking. When I was looking at my transition, I went to this job fair of like 200 folks, and I started kind of making a list of like who I may be interested in talking with. And so I looked at folks maybe like in the construction industry, and I didn't know a lot about builders at the time, but I remember going to the job fair and then meeting Celia Croft, who is one of the military recruiters in the HR area, and then really starting a relationship with her, learn more about the company, working with her and doing my research. The military offered this unique opportunity. It was called a skill bridge. And so I was able to intern at Builders FirstSource for about 12 weeks, 10 to 12 weeks. And so I'm still being paid by the Army, getting to work at Builders. And so really got a chance to learn more about the company and if this was something that I wanted to do. So really got an insider's look at this and really enjoyed, just that experience, the culture of the people, the relationships that I was making, Really good leaders here. I was really surprised like what it was gonna be like working like for civilian leaders, but really great people in the IT organization. And then also in an industry that I had experience in. I grew up doing carpentry and doing construction, and so still being a part of that, but just in a different capacity. And I think the other big thing that really drew me to this was just the opportunity here. The company's grown a lot. There's still a lot of opportunity for growth and maturity in the organization, and so just an opportunity for me to apply my skills and my leadership. So you make the transition from the military to the civilian. It's like, well, how do I apply all these things that I've learned? And so, in my time, I've kind of learned a lot and really seen like all these skills that I gained in the military I'm still applying and using. Some of those, planning, leadership, building a team, like those are some unique skills, but I'm applying all those in my daily activities. Teaching and training others. I've been putting together classes and training my employees on some skills and stuff, using like the adult learning model. I think my ability to communicate is a strong thing. Like I was mentioning earlier when we were talking of just when I engage with senior leaders, well, that's a different level of communication skills required than when you're engaging with like your employees. So how do you do that? My ability to solve problems. My background is actually, my degrees are in engineering. So I studied civil engineering, and so again, I'm a problem solver. How do I take something complex, break it down into something that you can actually solve and do? Well, that applies to what I'm doing here. I get challenges all the time, right? And how do I overcome those obstacles to deliver results? And then the other thing that's really kind of something that I'm really good at is, again, that strategic thinking the big picture, not just being so tactical, but thinking and understand some of the systems thinking, how things go together and relate to each other. Which ties something else I like to do is creating kind of processes and systems. How do I make what we're doing more efficient, more effective, right? And then the ability to then make those changes. It goes back to like leadership, and then applying that change into the organization to make everything better, make it more efficient, save money, right? As we're making and delivering results. I've really got three, I think, big points here. The first one is, for a veteran, talk to somebody that's preferably another veteran that's doing the job that you think you want to do, like a position title. For example, I was interested in project management. But what I realized is I started reaching out to folks that were project managers, some folks that had served, some other folks that hadn't, is that project management is in every industry, healthcare. I was more focused on the construction industry, but then I had one of my folks that I served with that was a veteran. He was a project manager for a winery, and I was like, I didn't know you could do that. And so it really helped open my, kind of mind and understanding of, okay, this skill applies to anywhere. And so it really helped me, I guess, in my understanding of, well, is this something that I want to do, right? Something else, the second point I'd recommend is, if you're interested in a particular company, talk to a veteran that works there to better understand and learn their culture to make sure it's a good fit. I've talked to several of my peers that have gotten out, and then they go for, chase some of these bigger name companies, paying a lot of good money, but their work-life balance is really bad, right? And so they burn out after about a year. Several of those folks have already left less than a year of working there because like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I did that in the Army. My priorities are different, and I want to, work for a place like Builders that has a better work-life balance, right? A better culture for those types of things. So learn about the company. Don't just chase the dollars, but look at, are you a good fit for the company? Does it have your values and things as well? Because that's where you're spending all your time, right? You want to make sure that you're contributing to something that you're, good for working, a good fit there for. And the third one is, and this was really more kind of a revelation here recently, as I reflected on my first year here at Builders, but I realized that what made me successful in the Army, and again, I listed all of those skills earlier of things that I'm applying, can still make you successful in a civilian career. But I want to caveat that. There's a big if there. If you're able to adapt to the new operating environment, right? So the Army has its own unique culture, or the military has its own unique culture of how it does things. Well, civilian culture has the same thing, but you can still apply those same skills and abilities. You just got to adapt them a little bit, right? So some of my things that I've learned is, well, I can't talk in military time, right? Maybe I can't be as direct as I'm engaging with employees, right? Because they're professionals as well. And so, you just have to like adjust your approach a little bit, but I'm still applying all the things that I was doing in the Army, but just in a little bit different approach. But again, it's also made me more successful because in the military, we don't just have one job. We get, it's those other duties as assigned. And so we're expected to do a lot of things. And that's really given me a lot of opportunity here at Builders is I don't just do, the job I was hired to do, but I'm more value added. I can go do some other things as well that are outside of that, which nobody else is doing, right? And so I can fill some of those gaps and again, show my value to the company. So I think 3 big things, right? Talk to a veteran that's doing the job that you think you want to do, talk to a veteran that's working for a company you think you want to be in, learn about the culture. And the last one is, again, your skills can still be successful if you adapt them to your operating environment. So that takes a little bit of work, but you can do it.